Welcome to Active Living at the Active Life. I'm Dan Wooten, your host for this 30-minute program featuring services to our older adults. We have a special program today. I don't want you to miss it. We are focusing in on those who serve our country bravely, our veterans. And we've got information that I think will be helpful to our veterans, helpful to our community to realize these special organizations that work directly with veterans, being sure that they take advantage of all the benefits and services that are set aside for them. So stay tuned. We're going to spend time not only learning about these organizations that serve veterans, we're going to meet a couple of veterans, and they're going to share their stories about their service to our country. Stay tuned.
I'm James H. Flournoy, military way of identifying myself. I put 22 years in U.S. Army. I was stationed in Fort Campbell, Kentucky, Fort Benning, Georgia, and Fort Carson, Colorado, stateside. I had a choice of coming back to Fort Benning most of the time, which in my stateside service was mostly at Fort Benning, Georgia. 2 tours in Vietnam, 3 tours in Germany. And I retired as an E7 out of the U.S. Army.
Mike Hudson is the Field Service Officer for the Georgia Department of Veterans Service. Mike, thank you for being here today.
Thank you, Dan.
Tell me about the Georgia Department of Veterans Service. What does your agency do?
Okay, Dan. We're a state agency and not federal, but we do work with veteran service organizations. There are 149 of these field offices throughout the state of Georgia, and we're one of those offices here in LaGrange. And we primarily service 4 counties in the area: Troup, Heard, Meriwether, and Harris County. And what we do, Dan, is we help veterans and their families file for benefits to submit to the federal side.
Now, do all veterans come to see you?
All veterans can come and see us. They can either call us at the office, or they can drop by the office and we can explain benefits. We have many veterans that visit our office simply asking, what am I eligible for and what can you provide for me? So we help the veterans with service-connected disability claims. For example, if a veteran was injured in the military, he may be able to file a service-connected disability claim with our department, and we submit that to the federal side. Oh. We also provide non-service connected claims called pension claims. It's an income-based program, and many veterans and their spouses can qualify for this as well.
That's interesting. You're talking about spouses and family members and all.
Mm-hmm.
Do a lot of people not realize that both the surviving spouse and the children have their benefits for those?
That's true, Dan. A lot of spouses do not know that they can qualify. If a husband passed away because of a service-connected disability, then the spouse can file a death indemnity claim through our department. We submit it to the federal side, and if it's approved, it currently is $1,215 per month to the spouse for the rest of her life. And all money from the VA is not taxable. So it's all income received each month, non-taxable.
Oh, excellent, excellent. Well, let's go down the list. Tell me some benefits that you want our community to realize that veterans should take advantage of that sometimes they don't take advantage of.
Well, one of the big opportunities for veterans would be in the healthcare system. A lot of veterans can qualify for health care through the VA. They can choose Atlanta or Tuskegee. We have several clinics in Newnan. We have a clinic in Columbus. There's a brand new clinic in Carrollton, Georgia, where veterans, should they qualify, be able to go to these clinics or the hospitals and receive health care and medications from the VA with a small a small monthly fee for their medications.
Okay. Define veteran. What is the technical term? In other words, what makes a person qualify for veteran benefits?
That's a great question. Anyone that served in the military is a veteran.
Okay.
All military personnel are veterans. Some are wartime veterans and some are war era veterans. We see many Vietnam veterans coming in our office today asking about benefits. Not all served in combat in country in Vietnam, but they served during the era of Vietnam. So we see a lot of veterans that come into the office just simply wanting to know what's eligible for me. One of the big opportunities, like I said, is health care. They simply don't know that they can qualify for health care. The other benefits that we provide are educational benefits. We are the certifying agency for a Georgia State Veterans Driver's License, which is a free veterans driver's license for veterans who qualify. And the qualifications are that you served during wartime, you have lived in Georgia the last 2 years, and you have an honorable discharge.
Now, you mentioned before that not only a veteran could qualify for that, but the surviving spouse also?
That's true. If something happens to the veteran and he passes away, like if I pass away, then my wife Debbie is eligible for the veteran's driver's license. And it means a lot to those spouses to know that they can receive that benefit. Yeah.
Any other big areas that you think that our community needs to know about, that they could take advantage of, that you often see that many veterans do not take advantage of?
Probably the largest area that we deal with that they're not sure if they qualify is in the healthcare benefit field, and we can really guide them through. We have applications at the office that we can provide for them to complete, to submit for the health care. And should they qualify, then they are assigned a doctor from the beginning to the end. They don't change doctors where 1 month you see one doctor, next month it's another doctor. That's your primary care physician, and like a primary physician here in town, that physician can refer you to other specialists such as hearing or eyeglasses or other benefits.
What about coming to your office? Talk about where your office is located, how they could get in touch with you by phone also. Let's let them all know how to get in contact with you, Mike.
It's a great question. We're located at 2170 West Point Road, Suite 35. And that's in the Simply Storage complex, and we're around back. You can reach us at the office, or you can call 706-845-4095. And we'll be glad to answer any questions that you have about your benefits.
What about some landmarks, so they know where on West Point Road you're talking about? What are some restaurants or all that they can help to find?
If you're coming from town and you go through Lee's Crossing, it's about 3/4 of a mile down Lee's Crossing, right next to Parmer Monuments. We're between Parmer Monuments and Charlie Joseph's on the right.
Excellent.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so do you recommend that they call you first or just stop by, or is there a preference?
Well, there's two of us working in the office, and most of the time if you just stop by the office, we can see you within just a few minutes and explain your benefits. Maybe the veteran has a specific question about burial benefits. What is my wife entitled to when I pass away? Can I get a marker? Am I eligible for a flag? Those kind of benefits we can help explain.
Great. Now, you're also active with the American Legion. Tell us a little bit about the American Legion.
That's great, Dan. I'm also the commander of Post 75 of the American Legion. We're the largest service organization in America. The American Legion was founded in 1919. This local post was also founded just a few months after the National was founded in 1919. So this post has been in LaGrange for a long, long, long time. One of the benefits to be an American Legion member is that we have the largest voice in Washington for veterans. We have over 2,400,000 members in the American Legion. And that's really important, Dan, because we have fewer and fewer politicians that ever served in the military. So it's important that we keep the veterans' issues before our politicians. And this is where the American Legion really pays off in Washington, D.C.
Is there a cost to join the American Legion?
There is. There's a small annual fee of $25. And if you serve during wartime, you can be a member of the American Legion. We meet here at the Senior Center on the fourth Tuesday of each month at 6 p.m. We'd be glad to have you.
And what do you do at the meetings? What do you discuss?
Well, we discuss what's going on in Washington. We discuss what's going on in our own community. This past month, we had a spouse of a World War II veteran that lives down 29 Highway here, who is having electrical problems in her home. She is about 88 years old, and she needed help with her electricals. She didn't know who to turn to. She called me at the office. I referred it to the American Legion chapter, and we're taking care of that work for her.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think it's incredible that so much priority is given to our veterans to help them take advantage of these benefits that they have, and having the American Legion also looking out for the best for veterans and their families.
Well, Dan, it takes all of us to look after all of us sometimes, but I can't think of a better thing that we could do in our community than to support our veterans of Troup County. We have 5,000 veterans in Troup County, 5,000 veterans that have served from World War II, Korea, Vietnam, the war in Iraq and Afghanistan. It's a tremendous honor to help our veterans, and I think we all need to be involved in that.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you,
for
Dan.
being here and give us this valuable information.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Well, my name is Hugh Vines. I served in the U.S. Navy during World War II. And as I went into the Navy in 1942, I was aboard ship. I was a cook in the Navy. And as we were traveling on the ship, going to the West Coast, we got down the breakwaters of Panama Canal. And there's about 100 people, I guess, standing up on the top deck watching the scenery, the sights as we were going into the canal. We hit a mine. Nobody up there hardly had their life jackets on because we're going into the shores. So the front end of the boat went up. Everybody got scared. You ought to see them like blackbirds leaving there, going downstairs to get the life jackets where they could come back up there and watch it. And so as we thought about that, the number of people that was running to get the life jacket, I was one of them. It was kind of a comical time, realizing the danger we were going through and also the fun it was to see those people move from here and there.
Why United Way? Because in some way, everyone in our community is touched by your donation to United Way of West Georgia. Yes, everyone. United Way helps 25 local agencies touch thousands of lives, even yours. To cause so many good things to happen, these organizations must have volunteers. Fortunately, more than 2,300 local volunteers are now giving time to the 25 local organizations that United Way of West Georgia helps support. Yes, more than 2,300 volunteers. But more are needed. Please volunteer your time, as well as your financial support. You'll be astonished at what you'll receive in return.
All right, my name is John Quick, Jr. I served 26 years in the Air Force. I was stationed in Alaska, Korea, and then England twice. I was in the MPs, transportation. I was in telephone switching. I was in SAGE, which was called semi-automatic ground environment, and I was E6 in the Air Force. That's what I retired as.
Wendell Kistler is the post commander for our local VFW. Thank you for being here, Wendell.
You're welcome.
What is the VFW?
VFW is Veterans of Foreign War. If you've ever been overseas in a foreign war, if you put your foot in a foreign war, you're considered a veteran. Hazardous pay, anything like that would make you a veteran. Anything else would be one of our associates be the American Legion.
Okay.
But you have to be overseas in a foreign war to be a veteran of foreign.
Okay.
Or extraditionary, extreme circumstances.
Okay. Does it cost anything to be a member of the VFW?
VFW costs $35 a year, but at our post, every meeting night, we have dinner. So you go get that $35 back within a year. So.
Why should someone join the VFW?
VFW is one channel that you can keep up with all the benefits that you get from the government. A lot of veterans out there are veterans and don't know that you can get free medication. You get to see a doctor at no cost. You get all kind of free help, and people don't know it. So we try to get the word out to veterans to get into a system down at anywhere, Tuskegee, Carrollton, Atlanta, Newnan, all those places you can get into the system. And that system's worldwide. Once they got your name down there, you can go anywhere and they can pull your name up in that computer. It don't matter where you at or who you are, you just go in there and they'll put your name down, your last four of your Social Security most of the time, and it'll come up on the screen. They can tell you everything about yourself from the time you was just about born almost. So it's all computerized worldwide.
How many members do we have at our local VFW?
We have 165 members at our post.
Okay.
And
your post covers what area?
Troup County.
Okay.
Everything in Troup, and we have a meeting third Wednesday of every month. We have a meeting, like I say, we have a meal there. Meetings takes about an hour, and we discuss everything we're going to do and what's coming up. Like Patriot Pen and Voice of Democracy. That's two of our little projects we do every year, and we do that every year. We hit the schools about the first, second week they open up, and we get them applications and all, so they can go ahead and get into the system there where we can help them out. Great. It's a $30,000 scholarship when you go up, if you go all the way up to national. So it helps out a lot on schooling.
Do you feel that being a part of an organization like this helps to provide extra support for the veteran, emotional encouragement for being a veteran and facing some of the challenges that are unique to veterans?
That's exactly right. That's about the only way you can get in there and find out any information like PTSD. We're not real knowledgeable, but we know who is. Mike Hudson, he's with a DAV. He's our main man. When they ask us something we don't know, we kind of send them to him because he's all the way around the state and he knows everything that's going on, and he helps. We can kind of get them started there in the right direction, tell them halfway what they can do and what they can't do. But we need to know exactly. We send them to Mike. But
now, what about a council? Don't you belong to a council that brings all these organizations together for veterans?
Right. I'm the chairman of the Veterans Council. We all meet once a month, same way all the organizations do, and we sit down and talk about it. We have funds that we help veterans with. If they need help, we help veterans. We support. We adopted the 1177th National Guard Armory here in LaGrange, so we feed them 2 or 3 times a year. When they go overseas and when they come back, we make sure they got a meal sitting out when they come in or when they leave. At Christmas time, we have toys for the veterans. And all the veterans overseas, the kids come out to the National Guard and we supply toys for them. Sometimes 1 or 2 toys, but every veteran we know of, kids will get a toy for Christmas. And we have toys for tots and all those others, but we mostly emphasize veterans.
Veterans and their families.
Veterans and their families. But if somebody needs something, we will give them something for Christmas. Everybody gets Christmas.
Well, thank you so much, Wendell, for all you do and for our community and for our veterans. We appreciate you.
You're welcome.
Hello, my name is Ricky Johnson. I'm the senior supervisor at the Active Life Community Center, and I've been here for 4 years now. I'm a retired veteran. I did 20 years for my country, combat, and some other overseas tours and all. But overall, it's been a very good experience. Here at the Senior Center, I've actually interacted with a lot of people, a lot of retired other veterans also, and we discuss a lot of things. combat future and stuff like that also. I've also taken advantage of my educational from the military also. I've been able to complete my bachelor's degree in rehab counseling, and now I'm starting my master's program in January.
We're here with Randy Dollar. He's the commander of our local DAV. Randy, thank you for being here with us today to talk.
I appreciate it.
Tell us, what does DAV stand for?
It stands for the Disabled Veterans.
Okay. And you're the commander of this organization.
Yes, sir.
Do you meet together?
Yes, sir. We meet one day out of the month. It's the second Tuesday of every month. We meet at 5:30. Right now, we're meeting at the VFW post on West Harrison Street.
Wow. Now, tell me about some of the services that DAV provides for the veterans here locally.
Okay, our primary service that we have right now, we have the van. We got a new van, I say about a year ago, but it's on the road 5 days a week. We make trips to Tuskegee. We make trips to Decatur, to the VA hospital in Decatur. It's free of charge.
Wow.
They meet out here at the mall around J.C. Penney's, and I think they leave around 6:30 in the morning. And most towns, most communities have maybe 7 or 8 drivers, but we got over 20 drivers. I believe we're the only one in the state that has that many qualified drivers. And it's all volunteer service. Nobody gets paid.
Okay.
And they have to take a small health evaluation, and then we have classes every year for driving. We have people come down from Atlanta, and they give you a class, about an 8-hour class on driving and defensive driving.
So if somebody in the community would be interested in being a volunteer, who would they contact?
They would need to call Dave Lyons.
Okay. And what is his number?
Lyons. His phone number is 706-882-7828.
Okay, great.
It's in the phone book, but his name is Dave Lyons, Lyons.
Okay.
And if they can't get him, they can call Mike Hudson, who was here just a minute ago, at the VA office on West Point Road.
Okay.
But like I say, they own the road 5 days a week.
Who qualifies for these services? Any veteran or only disabled veterans or what?
Mainly disabled veterans. You know, if we got some elderly veterans that not able to drive or need a way to go, that's what we're here for.
And who would they call to arrange transportation? If a veteran is trying to find out if they could participate in this program, who would they call?
They would either call Dave or Mike.
Okay.
Like I say, they meet about 6:30 and they load up and they'll take you and they're there almost all day until everybody's through, and they'll bring you back. And we put a lot of miles on the new van, and I've been commander probably 4 years, and we are accident free. None of our drivers has had any kind of moving violations, no kind of accidents. So we got a good group of people that drive.
Excellent. Now, you served our nation in the Marines.
That's right.
Okay, and you're a Purple Heart recipient.
Yes, sir.
Can you tell us a little bit about your service?
Okay, I graduated in 1967. Couldn't get a job anywhere. The Vietnam War was going on, so I went and enlisted in the Marine Corps. Went to Parris Island, left there, went to Camp Lejeune for infantry training, came home for 2 weeks, then I left for California. I was out there a few weeks, and then I was shipped over to Vietnam. I got there in 1968, by the time the Tet Offense started. And they just took us out and just dropped us out in the middle of nowhere. I was out there about 4 weeks. And I got hit with an incoming round. And they medevaced me out. I went to a ship. I stayed on the ship a couple months. Thought I was gonna get to go home. I was a young fella, really young. And then they turned around and sent me back out again. So I stayed out. It's hard to tell much the time. I was out probably maybe 3 months, 4 months. Got hit again. And this time they medevaced me out, and I went to Japan. I had a few surgeries, and I stayed in Japan about 3 months. And then I was sent to Charleston Naval Hospital in Charleston, South Carolina. I stayed there in the hospital probably a month, and then I was discharged and sent to Parris Island. I stayed at Parris Island a few months. I became a rifle instructor on the range, and then they decided to give me an early retirement out of the Marine Corps.
Wow. Well, thank you, Randy, for your service to our country and laying your life on the line for us. We appreciate that.
I tell you what, I've had a son that was in the Marines. He went in, and he went in '91 when they first invaded Kuwait, and he came back, and then within a short period of time he passed away. And then his wife was killed in a car wreck, so we took the grandkids, raised the grandson. Then he went in the Marines, and he had volunteered to go to Afghanistan. He just got back on his second tour from Afghanistan.
Wow, that's got Marines in your blood. And thank you to your whole family for their service, and spouses and loved ones that supported you too. So thank you for being here today, Randy.
I appreciate the chance of being here. But if we have any veteran that needs a ride to Tuskegee or the VA in Decatur, call Dave Lyons or Mike Hudson at the VA office on West Point Road, and they can get them lined up for a ride.
Excellent. Thank you.
Freedom. We all should be happy to fight for freedom because it's worth it.
This is a great country. Sacrifices from future to beginning and all. It's worth it.
Freedom is fought for and obligated, and you have a responsibility for that.
That's what they're for. That's what the service people are for, is a work for the freedom of our country.
On behalf of the Active Life, our community, and our nation, thank you, veterans, for your service to our country, for your sacrifices that you made for our freedom. We love you, we appreciate you, and we hope that you have learned some of the important information about these organizations that will allow you to better take advantage of their services. Thank you, and we'll see you soon.